Hey y'all, it's me, Kayla. It's the day before the fair entries, and so I'm doing a little crafting today, trying to get up a few more things to put in the fair. I just got finished painting this jar. It was just an old jar we had, and I painted some lavender on it. Nothing fancy. I'm gonna put this in the reuse and recycle category. So it was just an old jar we had, and I just painted it and then painted some lavender and leaves and stems on it and signed my name on the bottom. I've painted jars like this before, and I didn't even think about recording when I was painting this, so sorry about that. But anyway, so next I'm going to decoupage these two heads, and then I'm going to only enter one in the fair under decoupage, but the other one I might just go ahead and put my hat that I'm entering on, and then just on one of the heads, and then just put it in the fair. Anyway, I've been wanting to cover these for a long time. I've done heads like this before, and put them in my flea market booths, and they sold very quickly. And so I wanted to do some in case I do a craft fair. I didn't want to just use a plain white. I wanted it to be pretty. And ones I've done before, I've done a man and a woman, like a bride and a groom type thing. And the paper I used was music print. And so, and then I fixed them up and put a little hat on him, a little top hat that I just made and put on him. I wouldn't put about, like way yay tall and big, and then put a big flower on her and pearls around her neck. And so I've sold those in flea market booths, but these I'm not going to put anything on top, of course, because I'm going to put hats on them. So anyway, so what I've been doing, I was sat down here and I just started tearing up some paper. And so then I thought, I should record this. So here I go. And I'm just tearing up the paper. And if you've never done this before, I'll tell you that the smaller the piece of paper, I mean, you don't want tiny, tiny pieces, but you want pieces about like this, the better. If you try to do like big strip like this, it's not going to fold right into the creases. So you do want just smaller pieces would work best. And so I'm just trying to get some of these done, and I'm going to coat them both with some generic to give them a background coat. And I may not even have enough of this. I probably don't. But anyway, so I'm just ripping up paper. And I just got, you can give these a theme. Like this one is going to kind of be, maybe love themes. I don't know. If you were doing them for certain holidays, you could do it a Halloween theme. A Thanksgiving theme, make them pilgrims, Christmas themes, birthday themes, because you can certainly find paper that says happy birthday all over it. So, there's no limitation on what you can do with these heads. If you wanted to cover them, the paper tearing really loud in it. If you wanted to cover them to go, for a centerpiece for a birthday party or anything like that, would be cute for different holidays. So get inspired and create something fun. So anyway, I love using black and white stripes in art. So of course I'm going to throw some of that in there. So I'm just tearing up strips. Okay, and so I do not have any Mod Podge on me today. what little bit I had, the lid was glued onto the jar and it wouldn't come open. So I just took a bottle of Elmer's glue. You can use off-brand glue too. And I just took the whole jar. Well, it wasn't a full thing. It was about half. And I just turned it upside down and let it all run into this styrofoam bowl. And I'm going to add some water to that in just a second. And that's what I'm going to use instead of Mod Podge. I've used that in different art projects before, and it's been fine. Basically, Mod Podge is glue. And it's a little bit, I mean, I'm sure it's other ingredients in it, but it's basically watered down glue. So you don't have to buy that expensive Mod Podge if you don't want to. Usually when I buy Mod Podge, I buy it at Michael's with a coupon. Never without a coupon. Okay, so I've torn up a good bit. Probably not enough. But this one I'm going to save to last. And then I'm going to just cut out some words and put in different places. I just thought that would be cute. And then I have some black and white polka dots that I'll probably add. But I'm just going to put all that to the side. And like I said, I've got glue in here. And I'm going to add a little water. Just stir that up. And then if you feel like it's too much water for your glue, like I probably have it, you can add more glue. And I do have a lot of glue. I think a couple years ago, Walmart had glue, 25 cents a bottle. And since I do, or at that time I was doing a lot of artwork, mixed media art. And so I think I have a box of that glue. Anyway, that's about a good consistency. You can tell it's, I don't know how well you can see that, but you can tell it's kind of watery. It's not just thick glue. It's thinned down a good bit. I can still see it's not blended. And I didn't want to use anything that I wasn't willing to throw away. So I just got a styrofoam box and a plastic knife. But okay, you can see there it's pretty watery. So what I'm going to do is just take my mannequin and I'm using a sponge brush that most likely come from Michael's. So I'm just going to paint some on the mannequin. Put me a piece of paper on there. And this paper here is a little bit thicker than just regular scrapbook paper. This was in a almost more like cardstock, but thinner paper is better. But this is just what I could get to at the moment. Well, I might just stick it right there. You can come back in later and fill in any holes that you might have. You will have, because that's just the way it goes. So, and like I said, you know, smaller pieces are better. after I get these covered with like just a generic color, like I'm just trying to do up some pink here, then I'm going to come back with my more printed, prettier paper to fill in holes and things like that. I'm not completely covering every little speck with this. This is basically just to give a background color, pretty much, and then I'll fill in with pretty papers. So you probably don't want to watch me do every little piece of scrap paper on here, so I'm going to get these covered, and then I'll come back and show you what that looks like before I start adding the prettier paper. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I have a base coat of paper on the heads, and I wasn't thinking when I went back there to where my scrapbook papers are, and I just started ripping out some out of a pad of paper, and ended up it's cardstock instead of thin paper. The thinner paper is much easier to use on this, but the cardstock, I can still use it. I just kind of experimented with it there for a minute to see what works best, and actually, let me see if you can see this. Dipping the paper in water and just wetting the cardstock helps a lot. And then I've got my watered down glue, and I'm just going to put some on here and then add the cardstock. See how much easier that went on being wet? So that's what I'm going to do, is just paint a little bit of that on there. And with it having a base coat on there, this pink, if I leave any spaces, that's fine. The pink will show through and not white. And you can see on here that I didn't cover every little section. There is some white showing through, but I'm just going to make sure I do put the cardstocks on that. And then some where you tear the paper, it does leave white as the paper's torn. It's just going to be okay. I'm not going to sweat about it. I'm just going to do this and just see how it turns out. So I'm just painting some on and adding my paper. And if you use thinner paper, it will look the best. But I had already ripped up this cardstock and I really wasn't thinking. So it's going to be okay. I'll paint over that in a moment. And I did use a hairdryer to dry this up some, because it was taking forever to dry. So if you could leave it overnight to give it time to dry, that would probably be best. If you had several days to work on it. But I'm trying to get this done to put in the fair tomorrow. Because, you know, it's nothing like a last minute project. So that's how it's coming out. Let me see. Where's the best place to put that so you can see? Ah, you can't see it from there. Here. So that's how it's coming out. And I am just going to keep adding paper. And just keep adding until I'm satisfied with it. And I'm going to put a few pieces on there before I a little more. Yeah, if you use cardstock and you wet it, it will make it more pliable. And even if you have trouble with some that's kind of bulking up some, either your piece is way too big, or if you feel like your piece is not too big, just put the glue mixture on there and smooth it down with your fingers. That usually works. Now around the eyes and the nose and the mouth, that part is going to be a little tricky. But if you dip your paper in water and make it very pliable, you can lay it over that and then smooth it with some glue on top and smooth it with your fingers. And I believe it will work out just fine. Let's see. I want this piece to get really, really wet. I'm going to try putting this over the eye. And I'm going to paint a little of this in the eye. Let's see if I can't smooth this down. See how that just smoothed on down if I kept working with it? Okay. And then just to pick some for the other eye, I think I'll just use this right here. You see I did put down a garbage sack on top of my desk because I knew this would be messy, of course. I'm going to do a few pieces and then stop and go blow dry it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to do a little bit more and then blow dry and do some more. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm happy with it. So I'll check back in with you in just a little bit. Okay, so I finished with my decoupage heads. I did 2 of them. One of them I'm entering in the fair under decoupage, and the other one I did just because I had been planning on doing it for a while and just never stopped to do it. So these look very similar together. I mean, they look almost alike, except, they're different, but the same papers and such. And so here's what I ended up with. This is my first one. I just kept going with, different layers of colored paper, just to give you an idea. And as I was saying before, that I've done these in different themes and done them for weddings with sheet music over them. And I think I like the sheet music better. But this is, and I don't know which of these is going into the fair and which is not. But anyway, it turned out cute. It's fun. Just something for me to stick my hats on, and you know, just not be a white styrofoam head. Give it a little pop color there. Okay, and so here's the second one. And so it, you know, looks very similar. So after I had put all the papers on them and got them completed, then I had another sheet that had like these different sayings. And so I just cut the sayings out and put them on here. Kind of filled in where I had a spot that might have needed something. So these are easy to do. It just takes a while. And if I hadn't have been trying to do it to finish it by, you know, so it would be all dry to take to the fair, it wouldn't have been so bad. But I did get really, really tired while I was doing it. And, you know, I needed to finish it. Phoebe, you looking, baby? She's just like, she don't know who I'm talking to or why I'm talking. But yeah, if I hadn't have like had a deadline to have it done that night, to have it finished for today, then you know, I could have just done a little on it at a time. But I had to do both of them all together, and I was wore out. My arms were just so weak. But anyway, here's my finished heads. And they're okay. They're not masterpieces or anything like that for sure. But it does take some time to get that done. But anyway, I am about to take all my fair entries up to the fair to enter them. So that's exciting. And I will be back with a video very soon. Phoebe, you want to say bye? What?